property to the back and north to south slope as well, which kind of helps us make a bit of sense of the plans when we look at them. So we've got an existing and proposed block plan sitting next to each other. Hopefully you can see the grey hatched areas. One of them being the single-storey rear extension and the other being the carport. And if we quickly go back, you can see that the carport is going to sit alongside the existing garage there. Okay, you can see it's going to sit in that space alongside it. It's quite a generous plot, both the front and the rear. So yeah, a modest single-storey extension together with the installation of a carport. The alterations, it says, will provide further primary living accommodation and amenities for the occupants as their principal place of residence. As a result of the planned works, the property will be upgraded to a higher level of energy efficiency, meeting all associated building standards that are currently in operation. That's from the design and access statement. Have a look at the elevations. Right, so that's your existing east elevation with the rear of the garage alongside it, and that is the sunroom. We'll make that a little larger, I think. So carports are notoriously difficult to see on plans, and you can see the slope that I was talking about, the sort of side-to-side slope. So it kind of, in some ways, it makes it all look a little bit bigger than it actually is. They'll need steps to get down from the carport. There's the existing garage, carport next to it, and that's the sunroom that they're talking about. That north elevation there, what do my notes say? Yeah, the view of the sunroom just shows these steps that are required to get up to it, and it's got patio doors. East to west elevations. You would, yes, you're quite right.
You go in forwards. Then you can see what the end is.
I'll make that slightly larger as well. So yeah, you can see not a huge change to the front of the property. There's your garage, existing garage at the moment. The only change that we're looking at there is the addition of the carport, and then on the side, that's the side facing number 98, which is that property there, which sits below it because of that slope that we were talking about. So I don't think that the windows are going to have a massive role to play in this. Yeah.
Has anyone got any big issues? Can you, Dickie, do you want to turn your mic off on it? Has anyone got any big issues with this?
Yeah, you can see it is quite a lot of fenestration on the sides, but there's already views in that direction anyway along the south elevation.
This is probably nothing, but can we examine, is there any potential loss of light for the neighbour because they're downhill? Will they be looking upwards at a big carport roof? I suspect probably it's going to be okay, but if you just imagine.
Looking at just it was the garage next door.
Oh, it is, yeah. Okay, done.
So it's the same in reverse.
So the sunroom is on this house, so it's not going to affect number 98, and the carport.
Yeah, we'll come over here. Over the garage.
It is, and it goes up to the boundary. It doesn't look like there are any windows that it's going to be, it's going to be affecting.
Nick.
Again, willing to make a proposal.
What?
support purely because we have that. I can't see a problem with that at
No,
all.
I don't see a problem.
And we've got the policy, quoting the policy, Duncan, please. Whichever one it
With the
is that's
extension.
with the extension.
That's because it's Sarah's favourite type of bungalow extension.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Yeah. Has anybody got anything to say? Else to say? We're gonna go vote! Yay! There we go. Support. Yeah. Oh. Application 5. PA 23/09809. 17 Riverside Avenue. Demolition. Stop it. Demolition of existing detached garage. Construction of new single-story extension to north elevation with a garage integrated. New ground floor extension to south elevation with a balcony over an associated internal works. Duncan.
That we're looking at is this one here, right on the corner of Riverside Avenue and Fistral Crescent. This is an amended plans consultation, so we have seen this already. We last saw it, in fact, on the 19th of December, and you raised no objection to it. Your no objection is on page 3 of your comments document. We can look at this quite quickly, really, because what they had looked to do was a key part of this was a 2-story extension at the rear of the property, and that has, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of they may have had a change of heart themselves. It may have been following conversation with the officer. Certainly wasn't based on our comments, but they have taken that from a 2-story extension at the rear to a single-story extension, which I shall just demonstrate now, hopefully.
From a huge house, wasn't it?
Yeah. Right, so it's number 5, isn't it? So I think I can probably show this best with the elevations. If I just you allow me just to line them all up. Okay, so if we look at the west elevation, so the one on the top right corner, if you just focus on that one for a moment. So that's the existing. The previous proposed plans that we saw had got this quite large addition to the rear of the property. There is a what else have we got there? There is a front extension with the balcony over it. That's not changing. So we've gone from that to that. The amended plans show us just the only change is this at the rear has gone from a 2-story to a single. I don't know. I do not know the reasons why, but that is the change. So without going into it, if you want to look at more, we certainly can. But that's the change. It's a reduction.
Again, Southwest Water have put in a thing because they haven't talked about any infiltration and groundwater. So I think I'm going to propose no objection. Any other comments before we go for? No, John, you all right? No?
Well, we had no objection before, by all accounts, so it's going smaller now, so how can we object to that?
Yeah. Okay, so
your previous comment said you wish to note that the application could include some energy saving methods such as solar panels, also installation of a Swift or B box. This was from the 19th, so I wasn't actually at this meeting. That would all come under your policy G2 stuff.
So So you happy then, Duncan? We've got a proposed seconder and to put in then and pull in with the Southwest Water comment as well with all of that. So basically the climate DPD. Any other points before we go to vote? No, okay, so vote. No objection? Yeah?
No objection.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So application 6, PA 23/07702, removal of single-storey conservatory rear emplacement with single-storey extension, first floor extension over existing garage, removal and replacement of porch on 24 Pradower Road. Duncan. Date, can't you? 23, yeah, yeah.
How many times have we actually seen this one, Duncan? Is this the third time, is it?
When you're doing that, Jacob, are we on back online or not?
How many people are watching?
Right, so yeah, that's it. That's number 24 there. So, location plan. I think if we just look at the existing and proposed, we can see the increased footprint goes all the way to the boundary with 24A, the next door neighbour. So yeah, it was sort of a bit of side extension and then full width across the rear. Let me see elevations. I just want to make this slightly larger. About the right size, yeah. Okay. So if we start with the existing south facing, that's the building garage to the left. So you can see that they are building up along the side of the building. Slightly lower ridge height, and it's slightly set back from the existing building line. And there's also a change in the fenestration at both ground floor and first floor level. See, we've got sort of full length windows here, and balconies to both of the street facing first floor rooms. The west elevation, yeah, this kind of shows you this two-story extension here. As you can see, it's set back. You can just see the profile of the balconies that they're adding to the building. And there are no side windows on that two-story extension. The east, because it's a semi-detached property, just shows you you can just see the balcony profile on that one. The north elevation, there's something of a reduction in the fenestration here. Ground level, you can see they've sort of gone, they've changed from the sort of like kind of standard windows to these sort of kind of fan light windows. I'm not entirely certain why. And there are let's say there are no windows on the two-story side extension at the rear either. So it's got none on the side, it's got none at the rear. It's just got these at the front that you can see on the south elevation.
Sorry to interrupt, Duncan. Doesn't it actually, because it's sloping, the garden, so don't know small windows, if they're extending it, then this is actually the steps up. So it's only slightly above the terrace. Do you see what I mean? So they've only got the windows.
Right.
So if this is filling up with the land level, so the land level I think can be backfilling. So they're basically going to have these little windows which are above.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps there would have been absolutely no outlook,
No,
I
I
suppose.
don't think there's
So
any
there's no
outlook.
need. So there's no need to have those larger windows.
Yeah.
They've moved back, and
Because
they've got no outlook. That makes a lot of sense. In terms of the floor plans, so the rear single-story extension creates a kitchen here with roof lights. Yeah, you can see actually it looks like there's a line with perhaps a retaining wall, I would suggest. Yeah. So I think you're quite right in that observation. And
We've got roof lights.
Have they got enough light going into there? Is the question I'm asking.
Yeah,
No, light, natural light.
got two roof lights.
yeah, they've got two quite generous roof lights there. They're not going to get a massive amount through those fan lights, but they've got two quite generous roof lights. And that's all north facing anyway, isn't it? So it probably wouldn't have got that much light anyway, I suppose. Yeah, so the rear single story creates a kitchen with roof lights, and then first floor level, ground floor level, it's creating a bedroom, and then at first floor another bedroom over the top of that, and it's that bedroom that benefits from looks like patio doors onto the small balcony, and they're putting in a bifold for the existing bedroom at first floor level, the main bedroom bifolds onto another balcony.
Do you have any comments around the creation of new views at the front? What does the opposite of the street look like? It's really far downhill, isn't it?
You're looking at a balcony here, and then another one alongside it, set slightly back like the garage is.
Can we go 180? Yeah, that's it. Right. Okay. Well, they want to look over the counter.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Any balconies anywhere else?
So I can't see any front Juliet balconies anywhere else. So next door they've put balconies in there, haven't they? It's probably given them the idea.
There's a precedent for balconies along there.
An issue I have at the rear, if we can look at the rear plan again, when you've jotted that down, Duncan, is the terrace. No, go back to the other side. So I want to look at the rear. Is the terrace then with that? So that's going to be there. If they've got that flat area at the back of it, and there's going to be a gap here, then effectively you can just step over from your back garden onto the flat roof. I think they need some sort of protection around it. If you look at the plan, yeah, the floor plan, that's right here. So do you see what I mean? If you've got, this is like a terrace, you've gone up the steps and you've got this flat area here.
Yeah, for the dark night.
So basically you can effectively step over this gap onto the flat roof here. Do you see what I mean?
It's as if, I don't know.
it's not
It's
clear
difficult
what
to
that
tell from-
rectangle is. Is it a courtyard behind? Is this area here a courtyard with the steps coming up? Or is this a flat area at the top, which is solid compared to the garden? So satellite image. Can we look at? Can we look at sat? Sorry, John.
Yep, no, fair point. No, that doesn't. That's not really going to. That's not really going to show you much, is it?
Be a building regs thing. Nick.
Again, I think this is probably building regs, but I'm worried about the natural light into the bedroom at the bottom because otherwise there won't be any because it slopes, doesn't it?
The back, it's a kitchen. It's a kitchen.
One on top of the other, the bottom one won't get natural light in because it's coming back, isn't it?
Sorry, where do you mean, Nick? Use your pointer. You've got a pointer. There we go. Yeah, don't blind Duncan.
No, don't worry about it. I've just seen there's a gap behind. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Yeah. Free hair removal.
What I would say is that that window there
Yeah.
has got a balcony sort of kind of sitting out over the top of it. So there, I mean, and that's the only light source for that room. So there might be a question about the level of light into bedroom 5. So it is getting shielded somewhat by that balcony over the top of it.
Any other? No, that's all right. Joe? Yeah.
I don't think it is. It looked it looked as if from this block plan it looked as if there was, but going right up, but it doesn't, does it? You appear to have.
I think you're right. I think that was a bad drawing before. But that
Yeah.
I propose no objection. Again, we're missing the climate DPD. John's seconding. And any more comments before we?
Can you make sure you mention about on the thing, can you make sure about the possible loss of light into bedroom
Yeah, I
5?
think Duncan's probably got that with the officer. Yeah, we covered that. Dickie, anything else? No. You're all right then with that, Duncan, if we do it right.
No objection then.
Yeah, so there's no objection. John seconded, but and vote. Yay. It's in with 7:30. Would you like a comfort break for? Yeah. 5 minutes. Comfort break. Are you all right there with that, Jacob? Yeah, thank you. Marvellous, thank you. Okay, welcome back. So we're on to application 7, which is PA 24/01310, 12A Broad Street, extension of existing garage. Duncan.
Yeah, right then. Broad Street, down off Alma Place, Chapel Hill, around that area of town, an old part of the town, in fact. So
It's an ironic name.
Yes, yeah, no, you're quite right, because there's nothing, yeah, yes, yeah. But this has always been ironic. Bank Street did used to have banks on it once upon a time. Oh dear. Right, so the property that we're looking at is the one that's got the white car outside it, and we'll come down to street level, and it's this white house here. But the works are actually at the rear, so luckily we have a nice.
We've seen properties.
We have, yes, and they often tend to be slightly troublesome, but not on this occasion, I don't think. So the location and block plan, yeah, like I say, they've sort of gone for this super dark kind of thing, which makes it a little bit tricky. But I think what we can see is that the works are at the back of the property. If we have a look at these nice drawings, though, on the left-hand side, you've got the existing, and then immediately across, you've got the proposed. So you can see the existing garage. We'll just have another look at it here. It's this brown door here. The existing garage in this nice 3D CGI images, and then the proposed. So it's kind of, it looks as if it's brought the garage, brought the building line forward a little bit, not quite in line with the neighbour, but it's brought it sort of forward. The next image down, you can see again, we've gone from the single door in this gated entrance to a double door across, and then this bottom one is kind of really works as our floor plan, to be honest. So at the moment, you can see they wouldn't have been able to fit all of their VW camper van in the garage, but by extending bringing it forward, you can get it in. What they've done is on the side, it doesn't go all the way back. So they've perhaps, I don't know, I mean, you could perhaps put a motorcycle or something in there, I guess. But they can, I think the idea is that they can get their camper van in, plus have a little bit of room maybe for a motorcycle or something at the back. That's the change to the rear. It is a back alley. I wouldn't really call it a street view. That's the application.
Can get in and out is through the garage.
Yes, so they are losing. Let's just have a look at it. They are losing that gated side.
Can you just scan down the lane to see if there's anyone else that effectively have lost their gates? Can we just drive down?
At least one of these.
Yeah. Okay. I just find that really frustrating, actually, that you've always got to do garage up and down. But that's a personal preference for me.
It looks like that has probably had a similar kind of application applied to it.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any sort of refuse collection point there. Will that be a factor there, do you think? The others have got a few bins outside.
I would say that for some of these properties, there wouldn't have been anything anyway. They probably collect from the front, I would have thought, given the amount of stuff that we're now putting out. I would have thought that they're probably collecting from the front now.
Yeah, I think a dust cart might get stuck down there. Dust cart, that ages me, doesn't it?
I'm actually glad to see that they're actually keeping the garage, because the amount of times they can try and get rid of it on Broad Street, I'm happy to support that. I can't see a problem with that at all.
Anyone else got any? No? You making a proposal then, Nick?
Yeah, proposal support.
Seconder? Dick is seconding. Any other comments before you vote? No? Okay, vote on that then. Support? Yeah.
Just going to return a comment which I've not done for a long time on this because there's not really much to say about it. I'm just going to say there's no known local objections because there's not really much else I don't think for us to say about it.
No, I don't think there's. Okay, so it's back to me. Application 8, PA 24/01555 is the Esso service station down on Tregonwell, and the wanting to put up a 7-meter high Greg's totem sign. Stop it. Stop it. Right, okay, so if we can have a look at the location and siting. So, service station, and they're proposing it's going to go into this little. Can we blow that up, please, Duncan? Yeah, blow it up. Yeah, boom. Okay, so it's going to go in there. Okay, this 7-meter piece of plastic. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll continue through, and if we can have a look at the street view. So if we can have a look at the. Yeah, if we can have a look at Katie's pictures.
There
Kate's
are
gonna.
a lot of them. I can
Yeah.
just sort of flip
So,
through.
so here we have.
Is that a good one?
Yeah, that's fine. So here we have, and it went through on the planning permission with the lighting at the Esso garage. It was when I was off, I missed out on this one, and I was at home poorly, and watched this go through. And I think you commented, didn't you, about the lighting at it? But it also included these 2 totem poles here. One is the Esso, and if we enlarge that, look, it's got Greg's on it already. Next one is the plug-in electric recharge totem, which Kate informs me isn't working there, that they've got national issues. Also on this, if you can just scan over to, that's it, there's this huge burger one, which wasn't on that planning application. And oh, look, it's here. So effectively, I mentioned this to Duncan, and I've asked Duncan to ask enforcement about this as to how come they've got this sign here, how come it hasn't gone through planning. So the Greg's totem, even though it's got Greg's on here and all the budgeons, is going to be going to the side of it. And I think they don't give an indication, but I think it will be the biggest of the 3 then totems. If we can scan back out again, Duncan. So I was driving out of Newquay when Katie took these photos, but we haven't got the coming the other way. But this is the main route into Newquay, and at the moment, I think all this plastic signage isn't the best image that we're carrying at the moment. Anyway, hang on before we go. So if we can look at the elevations, please. So what they're proposing, oh, hang on, torch, right. What they're proposing then is, so you can see then the 2 signs, so they haven't acknowledged that other sign there. And you can see that it's going to be taller. So it's going to be taller than the SO station. And it's basically all blue with 4 yellow squares in it. It's going to be internally lit as well, which is got on the specification. So 3 totems. So um, I think I put in. Was it previous no, the specifications. I think we've got the specs for it. There we go. It's like a stretched out TARDIS, except it's not. It's interesting. Yeah. So if we can enlarge that, I think it says that it's backlit. It says down there somewhere, and it's plastic. It's a blue plastic. Hang on, Nick. Just want to. I just want to cherish this application. And so it gives the dimensions of it, that it's this totem pole. Yeah. Okay, go on, Nick. What did you want to say?
I don't know if anyone's aware. Obviously, I drive this a lot.
Mm.
Right, late at night, you can actually see that the actual sign's lit if you're on the Gownell Road.
Yeah.
Why do they need another totem?
You see, I think I mean I when with and I look at the Texas garage, which has got it's just got the single sign on, and I just think with all the temporary advertising that's long there at the moment, and putting another totem up there which is lit, I'm wondering how it's doing in with like the coastal impact. Is it thingy 4? But I think that the stable, the horse is bolted from the stable because we've already agreed we've got 2 totems on here. But in my personal view, I think having another one is too much. It's already got Greg's on there. It is an SO petrol station is the prime thing with the recharge. It has Greg's written on the on that, and the budgeons underneath it as well. So if it was going to be a Greg's restaurant and cafe, I can see that being the main thing. As it isn't. It is a petrol station first of all, and with the recharge thing, I can get the advertising for that. And I'd like to see that other sign come back through planning. Nick.
I thought you were going to make a proposal.
I could make a proposal, but I'm happy for somebody else to propose.
Propose objection.
Hang on before that. John, what would you like to say? But you see, there's masses of signs, John. It's well worth having a drive, and there are all these flags, there's masses of these signs, they're all temporary. So when you come round the roundabout coming from Goonhaven to Trevember roundabout, the first sign you see before Newquay is a Budgeons sign like that one, the roundabout. That is the first thing you meet you for Newquay. Personally, this is my personal view. I do not think this is a great message for Newquay. But because they're not permanent, I'm not sure what we can do about it.
It's getting like Las Vegas, isn't it?
It looks grisly. It looks cheap and nasty and grisly. My personal view.
Right, just slightly oblique question. If you look at where I'm pointing, what are these 2 sort of large pylon type things? Will that be a sign?
No, I imagine that will be a sign eventually turning left into the industrial estate.
So that's going to be a road sign, is it?
Yeah.
Do you notice how it skillfully obscures existing totem?
But that's purely because of the angle that you are by driving along on the road. Effectively, from coming down from the Texaco thing, those would tower over that, and from the roundabout side as well. The new round. Dickie, do you want to say something?
I don't have an objection to this, so I would be voting.
Okay.
I just made the proposal, so I think it's an unnecessary sign and it adds light pollution, and there's lots there already. It is actually quite difficult with that roundabout because there's the glare, and if it's raining, it really impacts.
So hang on before that. Looking at the advertising guidance that I referred to before with the Tesco signage, I think we can say that there's over advertisement if we refer back to that we can have the adverts up for the petrol station, which is there, because that's what it's advertising, and it's got the statements already on it saying what's there. So I'm not sure we can justify anything on Newquay neighbourhood plan details. I'm looking at you, Duncan. But I think with the extra light pollution, and it's cluttering the skyline and its impact, I think it's too much to be. It is a petrol station for thing, but to have it actually taller, dominating, and when we've got those three signs there, one which appears to have no planning application to be there. So our second Nick's objection. Does anybody want anything else to say before?
I will say one more thing. I think there's some prejudice here towards Greg's. Frankly, I think if I think if the Greg sign was already there and we were voting on whether the electric charging sign was going to go up at the same size, the same material, we would vote it through. So on that basis, I feel
No, yeah, I just
that would be that's my feel.
This isn't prejudice against Greg's. If it was Marks and Spencer's,
I'm talking about measurable, like yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Can I just say that I'm not being prejudiced against Greg's as a company. I know that is an issue in Cornwall, but this is not against Greg's. If there was somebody else, I'd still be supporting this objection.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to come back on your comment, Councillor Surrey. I mean, any of the companies listed listed on that plot, I don't necessarily have a problem with. I've got a problem with the advertising, because I think it for all of the reasons we've already gone into, it's about light pollution. I don't think there's an objection to any of the brands there. Other hot pastry shops are available, of course, but I think that's missing the point. And the other thing I would say is that you were making a prediction on how we would vote given a different scenario, and again, I just don't think that's something that we can add to the mix because we don't know what we would have done in that hypothetical scenario. So I'm just going to come back on the comment that you made.
You want to say anything else? No. So can we vote then on an objection? Are you against or abstaining? Okay. Be against it. I mean, you obviously are against it. You'd be for having it there. So okay.
Yeah, looking at these pictures, there's a lot of stuff around here. There's Harris fencing, there's all the stuff up the side. I wonder what, most of this isn't going to be anything to do with planning. I wonder if this is something that ought to be brought to the attention of the community link officer. Possibly.
As an unrelated matter, I mean, I've filled up my car from this station a couple of times, and there is one thing that I would like to say. So there's as you're pulling out back onto the roundabout, having made your purchases, there was no, I'm not going to name the company, but there was an almighty sort of skip-sized coffee cup on the island that of the roundabout, to the point that you're actually obscuring the oncoming traffic, and it makes it harder to make a decision as to whether to pull out or not. And
Wow.
and I just think that it's back onto the theme of there's too much marketing. I think if you go round, you'll probably be able to see the offending large sort of bin-sized coffee cup. Maybe, oh, is it there, or maybe it's, oh, it doesn't look like it's there on that one.
I remember seeing it when we drove past the other day. Perhaps it's gone. But I'm wondering if we need to take actually the sheer amount of visual material that is in that small area, for form a letter from Newquay Town Council to the companies concerned that I'm fine if they've got proper advertising, but all this temporary stuff which they can put out without is visually overwhelming when you drive through there. It's just cluttered.
I'd perhaps suggest maybe, as the chair of this committee, maybe email Andy Curtis and say that whilst looking at this application, we have raised these concerns, and and ask him for some advice as to where we could go with this. Because it might be the companies, it might be the community link officer, it might be highways if there's problems with the visibility. So, I mean, perhaps as the chair of the committee, if you emailed Andy with your observations that we've picked up here, and see what he suggests, might be a conversation to be had at full council.
I mean, there is all the extra lighting then for the houses which are going up on there as well. John?
Do we know the ownership of this land down here? Surely that sort of belongs to the county, doesn't it?
It's probably highways, I imagine.
Or highways or whatever, but surely they need permission to put signs on that land.
Try doing that on the voice stream.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It might be highways.
Can I propose, please, an extra hour? Can somebody second that? Yeah, vote. Yeah, wonderful. I'm pretty confident we'll finish before then. It's just I'm covering myself. Okay, so I'm doing application 9 as well. PA 23/06479. Hope Cottage in Stanways Road, change of use from annex to dwelling. We looked at this last planning session. Okay, so if we can just concentrate, hopefully I can get you through this and we can come back to a satisfactory.
I've got a possible interest here. Is this number 1, Stanways Road?
No.
Hope Cottage, Stanways
Is it
Road.
the one that's? Can I have a street view of it just to see if it is the one I'm thinking about?
It's not number 1, Nick.
It's not numbered. It's the Coach House and Hope Cottage. It's halfway up. I would say it's halfway up. So I think it's unlikely to be number 1. Is that number 1? No, I don't know. Yeah. That's So it's going to be further down that way.
I was trying to work out which one it was, but no, it's
Right, okay. So we looked at this last planning session. If we can start off with the location plan, please. So here we have the property we've just looked at, the newer house. and it's attached to this grade 2 star listed historical coach house which is beside it, which with the previous application, it turns out that the people that bought this house bought it with a sitting tenant in there when it was actually designated back in 2002 as an annex. So if we go to the Cornwall Council criteria for annexes, please, and if we can scroll down. So yeah, if we could just stop there. So the criteria of an annex is to have a functional link as an auxiliary to the principal building. So it is attached to the house, be in the same ownership as the house, which it was, be within the curtilage of the principal dwelling, which it is. It doesn't have a separate vehicle access, and be rail related to the extension, and have no boundary demarcation. So clearly it was an annex. And if we scroll down to the bottom, what you have then is when they keep going, is that stop, that's it. So when you have planning permission go through for an annex, which is what happens in 2002, they put the condition on that it's for family and friends, and it is very much auxiliary accommodation for the family, and that you're not meant to be charging rent for it. So the couple that bought the house bought it with a sitting tenant, not knowing. Personally, I'd like to know why their solicitors didn't pick this up. If you look at 2002's planning documentation, it has it there with the conditions. I just hope they have taken it back to their solicitor, because if I could find it, I'm sure a solicitor could. Right. So in other words, then there's been somebody residing in this extension, in this, not in extension, in this annex, so-called illegally. So if we can have a look at the elevations. So it is this small coach house, and I just wanted to put this on to show you it has a pitched roof. It's 2-floored. It has a first floor, a ground floor, and it has a floor above it, but it's got a pitched roof on that first floor. So if we compare now, it has its own front door here from the courtyard space. If we can now look at the first floor plan. If we can really enlarge that. So you've got an indication for the roof, and it gives the pitch at sort of 2 meters something, doesn't it, Duncan? Sorry, it's still too small for me to see. So it goes from 2 meters, what's that, 17?
Yeah, it's 2.17 at its highest to 1.49.
So 1.49. Now, when you're looking, we'll have a look at this in a moment. The government minimum space criteria for a dwelling is that it's nothing's included if it's below 1 meter 50. So that's going to make it even smaller. Now I measured the scale on this. You'll see that it's not rectangular. It's off at the side. I measured the floor space from upstairs and downstairs and came up with 35.75 meters square. Okay, so if we can actually, I put the photos next. Can we look at the government standard next? If we can just scroll down, it's got a table. Right, there we go. So the minimum gross internal floor area and storage. So for A one-person, one-story dwelling is 39 meters square. With a shower, then it's 37. So if there were 2 people in there, then we're looking at 50. So that's a standard if you're building a new piece of accommodation. It is, but the 2 stories combined, it's still only 35.75. No, I know. Yeah. So they would be assuming it was like a flat, that it was a level flat or a bungalow that you'd be going for. John, are you all right, John, until I finish
Okay.
presenting this?
It was relevant to this, actually. Okay.
Okay, John. You say what would you like to say? Okay, so they are applying for planning permission to become a dwelling. No, it's not, because their original planning permission was it to be an annex. And currently they say they're housing a Ukrainian family, which we'll look back at in a minute. Okay, so if we can have a look at the photos that they put up. So they're shooting themselves in the foot a bit with this. So they wanted to remove the wall at the side. This chipping area was a garden space, and now they're using it for car parking right up against the window here. And if we just have a look at the next photo, they've put tables and chairs out there, and it's just like, yeah. So if we can look at their design and access statement.
So this is superseded.
Yes, I think it's a superseded.
So, okay, so this isn't
Oh no,
no,
it was that. I think it was. No, it wasn't. It was. No. It was. It was the original one that was put. Yeah, have a look at the one you just highlighted. So I think what they've gone, this is an existing situation, and I think they said it's currently being used as a residential separate curtilage access to the main dwelling. And I think it said somewhere that they bought it with a permanent resident. What I was trying to get at was that then they say on their planning statement, the new people. So okay, leave that one. Then go to their planning statement. Yeah, they say that they've got a Ukrainian family in there. They basically go on about, they don't have a problem with this, and da 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 da. That they need the money to pay the mortgage and everything, so they need it to be rented. If we can look at the comment that the historical environment people have put in, which I think we've got here. So because it's grade 2-star listed, they've said that the loss of the wall is impacting the visual impact of the dwelling. So what they've done to the actual building itself, they don't have a problem with. What they suggest, though, the wall is replaced and that the chippings are made into a garden again. That it's not for car parking because it's impacting on the visual impression of a grade 2-star listed building. We don't have many 2 grade star listed buildings. So the historical officer is saying that. Some soft landscaping to put the shrubs back in which they removed. if we look at, I think, is it the street view? It still had the shrubs there, didn't they? So they've obviously made it parking quite recently. So they had, it was like,
That's a 2010 image, though.
yeah,
Okay.
but it was there. The wall went around. It had the fence there. That was a small garden area, and it highlighted. So that was like historical, people that managed the listing. So obviously that's all been taken away. The wall is collapsing. They say you need to reinstate the wall and put a proper gate post on it to make it be seen in keeping. So that's their comment on that, which we'd need to take into consideration. So the main problem, and the planning officer has had dilemmas over this as well. So what I am proposing is that we put in no objection, but the maximum is a single adult, and that the address is the Nook Hope Cottage, so it's still got that link of the address, and that the gravel is put back to as in utility garden space, and that we put in that it's not to be sold separately. Because they're in a difficult, I want to support them in this. They've been put in a really difficult position. It's not great. It would not, if they were going to be putting in for this to become now, to make it in a separate dwelling, like a flat, in other words, they would not get permission for this. It is too small. So I'm proposing this, and with what anybody else thinks, and then the county officer can then decide on that. So Duncan.
Your comments about the address.
Yeah, I think it's just keeping it that it can't be sold separately. That helped because they renamed it the Nook because they were saying there was confusion with the post, which I'm not sure about. I mean, they sort of contradict themselves within their statement, really. I'm sort of trying to help them out here, so it's still got that connection with the house, that it's not a totally different address in terms of dwelling, and that it can't be sold separately.
My understanding is that this building here is oh God, here we go. This is Hope Cottage, and this is the coach house.
Yeah, well, I thought
I mean, the address management isn't part of this planning application.
Okay.
Is what I would say.
All right. Okay.
It sounds as if they've already sorted stuff out
Yeah.
with Tim Rowe at address management.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Do we have
Yeah, they made it a separate thing. So this is.
okay? So I mean,
Okay. Okay.
Are separate addresses. That has been done. I mean, the meat and potatoes of this is that it should only accommodate non-paying guests, friends and family, and it is accommodating people who are paying. and the owners are very keen to formalise that, because that income is helping them to actually still live there. Problem is it's so small.
So as I said, this wouldn't normally go through planning, and we objected when we last met at planning for it to be 2 dwellings, because it is too small. So I'm no, you were.
The addresses, they're two different addresses. What am I missing?
Yeah, no,
So
it is two. This is 2 dwellings.
yeah, and it's paying council rates. It's paying council rates separately, but it's doing so illegally, effectively, because it's in violation of its original planning permission given in 2002, that it is an annex, and it states in that it's only for family and friends. Hence, they should be really taking this up with their solicitor.
Sorry, what I'm confused about is, so as far as the address team, forgive me, I'm getting the name wrong, Duncan, but it's currently 2 addresses, but it's not, because there's deeds that, so none of this is aligned.
No, exactly.
So no, it absolutely isn't, and I think they make that point in one of their design access statement or their planning document, as they can't understand why they've gone to Cornwall Council's address management and they've been able to secure, make it kind of quite clear. This is one address, council tax paying address, and this part of let's call it the estate, the 2 properties, and this part of the estate is also separate and council tax paying, and they can't understand why that hasn't tied up with planning, and it's only now that planning are coming along and saying there's a problem here. Unfortunately, Cornwall Council is a huge organisation, and these things just don't tie up. It seems so logical that they would, but these things don't. The left hand and the right hand are often not talking to each other. But that's just background. That's not really relevant. They are separate addresses. This is operating as a rental accommodation when it should be an annex.
But my problem here is, I've got a problem with making a decision where if I choose one way, then we're going to be not in agreement with say the address people. And if I choose the other way, then we're not going to be in agreement with the other regulations.
There's no reason for the change in address.
Couldn't have its own address. Couldn't have its own address.
Yeah, I was just trying to tie them up, but I hadn't.
That can literally just be for the post. So that's not that. Yeah, don't get. That's a bit of a red herring indeed.
My proposal is that this is for a maximum 1 adult, with repairing the wall and with the gatepost and putting that garden space back, as historic, stock environment planning have proposed, and that there's the clause then that it must not be sold separately.
Before I'm just sorry about this. I'm going on and on. If I were to second this and we carried this forward, my question to Duncan is there any procedural issues, or is everything in order with this proposal? I think that's what I'm. Can you see if there's any problems or any technical issues that we're overlooking here?
No. So I think that you're saying that, right, so Historic Environment Planning Officer has said, I would like to see these things. So our comment would say, yep, we support what he's saying. And in all honesty, the planning officer would yeah. So we're saying that we support what he says, kind of reconstruction of the wall and making it look a little bit nicer, because it makes the Grade 2 building, the setting of the Grade 2 building, a little bit nicer. The applicants themselves have said, we are very happy for some sort of condition that says that we can't just go off and sell this to somebody. I mean, it would be without, I think the condition would say, without first securing planning permission to make it into a separate, a wholly separate dwelling. And I don't know how the officer's going to word that, but we can sort of say we see that the applicant has said this, and we would support a condition that reflects their willingness for that. And we can say, because of the size of it, we have got concerns about it. We really wouldn't want to see any more than one rent-paying adult living in there. That all seems quite logical. The officer has still got a difficult decision to make here, because it is a bit small and it doesn't really have any amenity space. But they will look at it and they will see what flexibilities they've got, and yeah.
Right.
It's just like a flat. You know, when we're looking at all the flats that have been developed opposite, they don't have any amenity space. So I think if you think of it as terms of it's a flat, then that sort of the amenity space thing gets negated. And we are throwing it really back to the planning officer that they override it. They could override us and go, actually, no, it is too small, and no, you can't. They can't do that.
Yeah.
But
as a committee, it sounds as if you want to support the current owners to continue living there as best as you can. But there are a few issues. To be honest, Cornwall Council's going to have to sort them out and make the hard decisions. But we've got some comments to return here that are half useful.
So on that basis, I'd like to second then, if possible, unless anybody else has already done that.
it's got any. So.
Are we supporting the change of use for an extra dwelling or not?
No, so
There's no
there'll be no objection with those conditions. We only tend to support things outright if there isn't an issue. Yeah. Nick, do you want to say something?
I have an incredibly difficult one with this. I'm actually going to abstain because I can see both sides, and I can't make a decision on either side.
Okay.
So I'm just going to abstain completely.
I mean, we are meant to be in a housing crisis, and this would be a really nice, cheap accommodation for a single person. But then, if you're going to hang on with the no small thing, yeah.
I
John?
think it's too small. That's me personally, but I can see where they're coming from, so that's why I'm going to just abstain.
John?
If this was an Airbnb, there'd be no problem at all, would there? Just carry on as nothing had happened.
I mean, it's not as a residential dwelling.
Yeah, but who's to know that the Airbnb were in there?
It's being used as an Airbnb by previous owners.
It's probably going to come across in the future where we have to approve these Airbnb licenses for people.
Yeah.
We're coming across the same situation as this.
I think we just, we have acknowledged that the size is an issue. Okay, so back to Duncan. So application 10 is PA 24/00068 45 Tredower Road, just down the road from where we looked at. Non-material amendment in relation to decision notice PA 19/08272 dated the 11th of the 12th 2019 for extension of proposed decking by 1.44 metres. I don't think this is going to take you long, Duncan.
Right, so the red marker is right on the house, so it's the end terrace plus this extension here. It's one that goes back to 2019 when it was permitted, and this won't take long at all. So effectively, they are looking to extend the area, the decking element, if you like, of their application by 1.44 metres. that effectively is the section of decking north of the word decking area. So if you just drew a line along there, that is the extra bit of decking that they would like to have. There is your application.
Yeah.
That's at the rear. That's
Yeah.
at the rear. The decking previously just kind of came along there. Line was effectively just above where it says decking area from one side to the other.
Yeah.
They want to include a little bit more decking, which comes across as, yeah, they've said 1.44 metres worth of decking.
So, Southwest Water have commented on this one for not actually putting in for water wrenching, which with decking I'm a bit surprised about, seeing as it's sort of permeable anyway, but they've commented on it. So they need to actually acknowledge water saving measures on this too. So has anyone got any comments to quickly, right, John?
What's that line there? Is that the boundary? Are they overlapping the boundary at all? No, it's not on that one. Oh, right, okay. Okay, sorry.
There's an ample amount, and they're just extending the bit of extending
That's
a
okay,
little bit out there. Okay.
Nick?
I really can't see a problem with this.
No.
I really can't see.
Are you going to make a
proposal.
proposal?
I am support.
Oh, okay. With the Southwest Water thing as well, can we just slightly alter
Okay,
that?
right, yeah, no objection, and then add the
Pending
Southwest
with
Water
yeah.
thing.
Okay, and comment from.
I'm just wondering how it's got here. I mean, why are we here, Duncan?
It's come here, but
Planning permission for one thing, and then they're changing it.
okay,
And I know it's only decking, but
amendment.
it was part.
It's an amendment.
Decking,
Yeah.
Decking, and I don't know the measurement, but decking over a certain amount of.
Yeah,
If you're doing
needs
over
planning.
a certain amount of decking, it actually
Yeah,
needs planning permission,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
So second.
Bonkers, I know.
Joe's going to second voting on this for no objection. Yeah. No. We changed to no objection because they've got to account for the Southwest Water. Yeah. Marvellous. Hello. Here he comes. Right, okay. And the last one is Duncan's as well. Well done. Application 11, PA24/01575, Goonbury Close. Proposed conversion extension of garage and store to create additional living accommodation. Duncan. This shouldn't take long either, I don't think.
Goonbury just comes off Trininic Hill. The house that we're looking at is actually the one right at the end of the close here. And this is indeed it. So this is the garage that they're looking to extend and convert, garage and stall, to create additional living accommodation. You put that palm tree there, that's so annoying. It's interesting that would appear to be the front door, but that I suspect that they're actually using this as their front door, because this garage and this door here are going to go. So I'm not going to bother with the location plan. I'll just bring up the two site plans. In fact, we don't really even need to see that one. So as you can see, it's a in terms of footprint, it's a very it's a very small footprint change to this. Just let me set these up. Okay. So what you've actually got here is they've not really, oh, it's quite that big. They've not sort of surveyed the main house, just the garage. So you've got this existing garage that's sort of kind of almost triangular shape. What they're looking to do is extend it backwards. You'll see that there is a connection between the utility and garage and the house. Although, as I say, I suspect they're not using that door as their front door. I think they're using the double doors up the steps. What I was hoping to do was just sit these two alongside each other. So that's your existing, and that's your proposed. So hopefully you can see that they're just building back into the back garden a little bit more. They are creating a bedroom, a shower and WC, and a sitting room, living room. Well, they aren't applying to create an annex, but it might be worth us kind of mentioning it. Just have a look at the east. That's the existing, and that's the proposed. And I think if we make that a little larger, you can see we aren't just extending lengthways. That dotted line is the outline of the existing garage. They're also increasing the height of it as well. So they're just extending backwards a little bit, but they're also increasing the height. It does look very much like an annex. I would say it definitely is an annex if it included a kitchen. That sitting room, living room has got this kind of looks to me a bit kitcheny, but it's not. It's slightly unclear as to whether it is or isn't. You could imagine it though. You could imagine it sort of accommodating your teenage son or something like that, perhaps. So as I was saying, the garage. Let's come that way. Sorry. That garage and that we can see on the south garage door, new PVC door, those are going, and it's just going to be replaced by a window. So there's no suggestion that it's going to have a separate entrance, which you might expect with, say, like Airbnb or rental accommodation. The connection that I mentioned down this hallway, door to house to remain. So they'd all be using the same front door, so it doesn't particularly look Airbnb-ish. Sort of keeps a functional link with the dwelling. Yeah, sure.
As I say, what's the adjoining wall on this? If we're going to be raising the roof, does the neighbours come onto this, or is it a mirror on the other side? No, it's a fence, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
it's the garden fence and the back of the garden.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to. It shouldn't impact on the neighbouring property.
Right.
It's a modest height increase, but it shouldn't impact on the neighbouring property.
Okay.
Does it affect any house on Melvrain Lane? Because Melvrain Lane is to its right.
I don't think so, because the window will be at the garden, won't it? Which is, there's already windows there. It's not going up.
Right, so you think these houses here being affected?
Yeah, the one below it, the one there, those.
Is there any?
When you say affected, what do you mean affected?
Are they going to be overlooked?
Yeah, because there's already windows at the back of the house.
No windows on the side. Is
But
there
there aren't.
windows on the side of
No,
the house?
no.
It's single story, right?
A single story.
So there's
So it
no,
just-
they're not putting any windows along this side
Yeah.
of the house.
And they're
So
just
there's
going to
no
have,
looking out from that side.
and then
The only
double
windows are this patio
double
door
doors, yeah.
at the back and,
And then
the
they've got-
large window that we saw at the front. So
And
there's
then the
no
roof
side-
light.
It's
You
the
can
bit
s-
at the top that I was worried about because it didn't seem to connect onto anything.
No, it's in the garden. And so it's got a roof light as well. So it's got a roof light. Yeah, I don't.
They've made an effort not to suggest that there will be an annex sneaking
Yeah.
It's well connected to the house. It's just an extra,
Yeah.
it's an extra ensuite bedroom, isn't it? With a
Yeah.
tiny bit of seating area.
So I'm going to propose no objection pending their meeting the climate DPD recommendations. Seconded. Has anyone got any comments on before we vote? No. So happy to vote on this then. So no objection. Nick, you what we do? Oh gosh, right, okay. Yeah. Okay, right. Okay, marvellous. We're getting there. Yeah, yeah. I'm with you. Right, terms of reference. We got any change to terms of reference?
No, we've got nothing to do
Marvellous.
with terms of reference.
Reports and any associated from working parties. We had a Newquay neighbourhood plan working meet, but Joanna hasn't done any minutes for this, has she? So
No,
No.
So perhaps
not
she'll
next
report,
time.
She'll
Yeah,
report back at the
next
next
time.
meeting.
Financial statement. We haven't been out spending or skiing. No, marvellous.
No purchase statement.
Yeah. No spending or inheritance. Right. Any other correspondence that's come in?
No, not had
No.
any further correspondence.
Weekly decision list.
There's a couple on there.
Oh, they've appeared, have they? Because there was none when I looked at it. Oh, I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, no, I tend to get them on a Wednesday.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and there was none.
There was none.
This time last week, they
Yeah.
sent through a decision list. No new key
None.
decisions on it. I've never ever seen that before. There were 4 decisions this week. A couple of them I picked out. One of them was that non-material amendment on Springfield Road where they wanted to have the parking space in front. We objected to that. The officer has just said it's not acceptable as a non-material amendment, so effectively has refused it. Highways weren't very happy about it, and we were just led by them. The something called the Hotel Bristol has been approved. I just sort of draw people's attention to that in case they've not heard about it. In terms of the judicial review, I can report, having spoken to the town clerk, that in line with the decision that you made at full council in December, this is now being looked at by our solicitors.
And if we do go for judicial review, we can actually get a block, can't we? We can get a temporary blocking on building development if we are going for that. Nick.
Just to tell everybody, just in case you haven't heard Radio Newquay today, I've also written to Michael Gove about this, and there's also a possibility of him calling it in.
John, you've got your microphone on. Do you want to say something?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. You do want to, right? Okay. Disappointing. Disappointed. And I haven't got my microphone on there, and I just think it's a shame. So, as I just said, I was just disappointed with Cornwall Council's reaction. Whether they think they're just calling bluff, I don't know. But yeah, Newquay isn't a Cornwall Council cash cow, and it's just a shame. They just need to call it back in that we could just discuss it again, and it flies in with then the Newquay neighbourhood plan with the stories and things, and they're saying that 6 equals 4 plus 1, um, which even in 1984, the basic sums in that, yes, 2 plus 2 and 4 and all that. Read 1984 if you want to do some basic sums. Okay, I don't think we can really say anything else on those, can we? No.
Presumably, hopefully we'll get an update from the solicitors sometime soon.
So I'd say I haven't spoken to any members of the cabinet about this. The Westminster cabinet, not Cornwall Council cabinet.
I haven't got a handy famous. Okay, disappointed. Is that the Bristol with the weekly decisions? Is that? Sorry, I'll click on it. Yeah.
Conditional approval. Yeah, no, that's just
Conditional, but not confidential.
That's just the document itself.
That was the document itself. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have now got the 84-page officer report.
Oh, have we?
Yeah, I've got.
Because we hadn't got that.
I have got bound. I've got bound copy of it.
Bound copy.
Yeah, because it's huge.
A bondage copy.
Yeah. Pop-up sites and saunas.
Oh, was that under the weekly decisions?
Just an information item.
Oh, okay. Sorry, information item. Yeah. Talk about pop-up saunas.
You were emailed in December by Kay Roberts, or as Kay Roberts emailed the town council, and it's shared with you all about these pop-up sites and saunas. Pop-ups is an ongoing kind of income generator for Cornwall Council. We'd never seen pop-ups and saunas before. And I think that you should have received an email in the past couple of days that's just saying about what's happened with that. Some of those are down at Watergate Bay, and I've emailed Kay just to ask for confirmation about alcohol sales with any of those, given what went on at Ballmasters last year. But I've not. I only did that today, so I've not had a response. But I will update you about that. Hopefully, they're just literally selling soft drinks and crepes and packets of crisps.
Sauna. It's like a mobile pot roast, isn't it? Sorry, losing plot. Nearly there. Wonderful, yeah. Oh. Oh. Okay. There we go. There we go, the public. Okay, so is that it, Duncan? Anybody else want to contribute anything? So next planning and licensing meeting is on Wednesday, the 27th of March. So what we refer to as a blue moon planning month with three plannings in a month. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I?
Okay. Hang on, just say Nick first.
Do I have to send separate apologies? I'm going to do it now because my partner's working that night, so I can't come.
Okay, so no Nick. Yeah. And Joe, are you?
Giving advance warning, it's likely that I won't be there. However, so I'm clashing. I've got 2 meetings that night. I feel the need to go to the other one, but if it means that you're in quorum, I will jump across and come. But I would rather subs to come in so that you can still be quorum.
I'll be putting out the papers for the next one because I'm just having a week off, not a fortnight. I'll be putting out the papers, so I'll make Louise aware of that, and hopefully, if people could respond as quickly as possible.
So John. Yes. Will you need a reminder? Do you have a diary with you to write in? Just those memory skills. Wonderful. I think that's it then. Thank you, Jacob. Wonderful. Thank you.